Wednesday, July 15th, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Makati City. The doors of the Glorietta Activity Center open to a crowd that has been holding its breath for nearly 2 weeks. Somewhere in that building, a 21-year-old left-hander is about to walk out and face a country that has already decided she belongs to them. This isn't just another fan meet. This is the moment a nation gets to exhale. Globe Telecom has been building toward this moment for months. And to understand why a mall atrium in the middle of the Philippines is about to become the loudest room in tennis, we need to rewind 11 days to the exact instant Eala stopped being a rising Filipina and became a global figure the sport can no longer look away from. It happened on a Thursday afternoon in London, on the most famous grass courts in the world, and it changed everything. Let's step back for a second. 9 days ago, Eala lost a Wimbledon round of 16 match to Jasmine Paolini in 3 sets. It was a battle, a fight that stretched every ounce of her ability, and she came up just short. 2 days after that, on July 7th, she opened Instagram and thanked the Filipino fans who had carried her through the run. That post wasn't about disappointment. It was about gratitude. 2 days after that, on July 9th, Globe Telecom announced the homecoming event, a public meet and greet at Glorietta Activity Center, gated through the Globe One app with registration starting at 4 p.m. and the program kicking off at 6 p.m. sharp. So, here's the timeline that tells the real story. From heartbreak to homecoming in just 72 hours. And it all started with a match on center court that no one in the Philippines will ever forget. The tension surrounding this event isn't a rivalry with another player. It isn't a scandal or controversy brewing behind the scenes. The tension here is emotional weight, and it is crushing. Think about what we're asking of this young woman. A 21-year-old is flying home from London, walking into a Makati mall packed shoulder to shoulder, smiling for the cameras, taking the microphone, and being a national celebration before she has even had the chance to process a loss that ended her Wimbledon run less than 10 days earlier. She led the second set against Paolini. She forced a decider that she simply could not close. And now she has exactly 12 days between the Glorietta homecoming and her flight to Washington for the Mubadala DC Open, where she becomes a competitor again. 9 days to grieve, 0 days to catch her breath, and in between, an entire country waiting in an atrium. That is the collision at the center of this story. And Globe Telecom, whether they intended to or not, just built the stage on which it all plays out. Start with the speed of it all. Eala lost to Paolini on July 6th. On July 9th, just 2 working days later, Globe pushed the announcement live across every major platform. That is not just a reaction to her Wimbledon performance. That is a contingency plan that was sitting in a drawer, fully prepared, waiting for whenever her run ended. They knew this moment was coming. They just didn't know exactly when. Now look at the venue. In July of 2025, Globe hosted Eala at the Globe Tower in Bonifacio Global City, an invite-only corporate setting with a limited audience. 1 year later, they moved her to a public mall atrium in the busiest commercial district in Metro Manila. This isn't a schedule tweak. This is a corporate confidence vote on a massive scale. Globe is betting that Eala can pull a general public audience off the street on a Wednesday evening, and they are not wrong. Then there's the access mechanism. Every attendee must download the Globe One app to secure a slot. Put yourself in that decision room for a moment. A telecommunications company just turned a fan meet into a customer acquisition funnel.
Why?
Because they know the demand exists to justify it. This is what it looks like when a national fan base becomes commercial infrastructure. And every one of those decisions traces back to a single afternoon. July 4th, center court. Eala beat defending Wimbledon champion Elena Rybakina in straight sets. 7-6, 6-2. Maria Sharapova called her a star on Instagram within hours. Billie Jean King met her in person and referenced Pinoy pride. Catherine, Princess of Wales, posed for a photograph with her courtside. In one afternoon, Eala walked off a tennis court and into a completely different category of global recognition. The pattern is unmistakable. First Miami earlier this year, where she made a statement. Then the Berlin semifinal after upsetting Rybakina and Svitolina. Then Birmingham for a WTA 125 title. Then Wimbledon round of 16. This isn't a spike. This is a curve, and every corporate partner she has is trying to catch up to it in real time. Which brings us to the number that Filipino fans have been quietly noticing for months. The ones who bought in early, who watched Eastbourne last year, who stayed up for 3 a.m. matches, who never needed a Grand Slam highlight reel to know what she was capable of. You saw this coming. The rest of the tennis world is arriving now. Globe Telecom is arriving now. And a mall atrium in Makati is where all of that arrival converges on July 15th. Here's the detail that makes the Glorietta event singular. According to reports, this is Eala's only significant public appearance between her Wimbledon exit and the Mubadala DC Open on July 27th. One event, one window, one evening between London and Washington, where Filipino fans get to look their tennis hero in the eye before the U.S. hardcourt swing pulls her back into competition. Consider who has now publicly stamped Alex Eala's name. A 5-time Grand Slam champion, a former world number 1, a Wimbledon champion at 17, one of the most globally recognized tennis figures of the 21st century. And the detail that makes this weightier than any other endorsement in the sport is that Sharapova was the exact player a young Alex once pointed to as her idol. Within hours of the Rybakina win, Sharapova posted 2 words: a star. That is the endorsement that reframes everything. In a coronation narrative, the person who crowns the hero has to be the person the hero once dreamed of becoming. Sharapova is that person. And when a player of her stature,